All right, and we are up. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Dark Council podcast. It is the Freelancer here with Jake once again.
Hello.
We are here this week for the greatest of occasions, because it is finally the time where we will discuss our glorious blue boy.
It's the boy time. Here comes the boy.
It is the talk of the boy. Specifically, our boy's tale in Legends, because I am reserving our talks of him in canon through our book club stuff and our and for when Ahsoka season 2 and the Filoni movie eventually drop, whatever the fuck that's gonna be. But to also remind everyone of the book club, that'll be on the last Sunday of December. So there's a new one that's going to be happening the end of the month, every Sunday on the last Sunday of every month. And this one is to remind everyone what our topic of today is. We're talking about Thrawn.
Yeah!
Which is also the title of our title of the current book club book. So, I know you talked about it last night, but you were actually like halfway through it, like almost halfway through the first book.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'm catching up on that. I'm like a third of the way, because I'm about to finish up chapter 7, I believe.
Yep.
So I'm like a third of the way. I have read this book. I've gone through this audiobook like multiple times. This is actively like a background audiobook for me when I'm doing shit. So for me, it is nothing at all. But yeah, no. Today's discussion is about the Chiss Grand Admiral Thrawn.
God, what a cool dude.
And I want to kind of take a step back and note the take a quick step back and note the way we did the Skeleton Crew discussion last week, which little side note, so far still pretty interesting, all things considered.
Yeah, that's good to hear.
Third episode was a interesting piece and kind of fed a little more of, actually seemed like it's trying to blend the two plot points now, trying to like make them one singular plot point almost, but we're still figuring that out. It's only 3 episodes. There's not enough meat to chomp on for the mystery there. There's enough to bear in on it, but we can't like chunk off anything yet.
No, it's enough for you to be like, there's something.
We're getting the flavor, but the actual filling of it is yet to be seen. The actual filling is yet to be seen, so we're working on that. But
delicious cream filling of this.
I do actually want to do the episode. I do actually want to do an episode discussing it when the full series wraps. So every now and then I'll kind of like mention how I'm feeling over it. But when the final product is out, when like the full series is out, I'll sit down, do a binge, and we'll do an episode the week it finishes, the week the finale happens. We'll do a discussion over it.
Sounds good.
Because I've been thoroughly enjoying it, so we'll figure that one out. But Thrawn today. So like I said before, this is specifically covering Thrawn in Legends. We are not going to be using any canon material, so nothing from Rebels, the novels, or Ahsoka. All of this expressly hinges on what has been started through the Timothy Zahn Heir to the Empire trilogy.
Yes. God, Pellion's cool.
That's another quick note is we're technically going to be starting a bit of discussion on Pelion, because this is technically where he's introduced as well, I think.
Yup.
As a character, I believe this is the other place where he is introduced, so this will be a interesting run through.
Hellian's cool. Rook's cool.
A lot of good characters and a lot of good portrayals of characters through this.
Yes.
Then we have some not so good. Then we have some not so good ones.
Yeah.
Fucking Phalea. Phalea and his damn boffins.
I hate that guy.
We all hate Phalea. Even when this man literally, that'll probably be a discussion we'll have at some point, but especially when we talk about the Vong, but yeah, there's nothing redeeming about that. There's nothing redeeming about that man at all. He's everything. No. He's everything slimy and terrible about politics.
He single-handedly made me racist to Bothans.
Yep, that's. What is it? All ABAB, all Bothans are bad.
All Bothans are bad.
This man straight up, through Galaxy specifically, had a newfound hatred for Bothans.
Dude, Bothans suck such shit. I hate them so much.
So here's the thing. I will stand in defense of their race. Phalea is an exception to the rule.
Oh, dude.
That is something I can actually that is something I can. That is something that I will say. Phalea is probably the exception to the rule rather than the whole rule. He is not
I don't know.
He is
they
not.
Say that all Bothans are like that.
They actively aren't, because in SOTOR, there is a Bothan Admiral in the Republic, who, by the way, is voiced by Steve Bloom.
Hold on. You said Old Republic. They have changed since then.
There is also a Bothan who ends up serving in Rogue Squadron, and she is also really cool, because she also gets together with Gavin Darklighter. So
okay, here's another thing. The people in Rogue Squadron are there because they're all misfits.
And she was also,
which means she's an atypical Bothan.
Rogue Squadron are not the misfits. That is actually Wraith Squadron.
They're both misfits. If you're a fighter jockey, you're a misfit.
Is that your precedence?
Yeah,
your precedence?
Because it's set on real life, dude. Fighter jockeys are fucking weird. I live next to an Air Force base. Fighter jockeys are fucking weird.
You're not the only one who lives near. You're not the
then
only
you know
one
what I'm talking about.
We're having a time with this one.
We're already having a time.
We're already having a time. But, specifically we'll be pulling from the Legend. Our Legends material will source primarily the Thrawn duology, the Heir to the Empire trilogy, and Outbound Flight. Those are where our primary sources are pretty much coming from. The only exceptions to the rule are instances of him in video games, i.e., when he makes an appearance in the Forces of Corruption campaign in Empire at War.
I want to say he was also in that Twisted Metal Star Wars game.
I do not know if he was.
I don't think he was, but part of me is like, yeah, he was in there.
I don't know if he was. I know he's in Galaxies, actually.
Yeah, dope.
Because he's actually one of the Imperial naval representatives you talk to.
Fuck yeah.
He's one of the naval guys you do.
You get to work under Thrawn for a little bit?
Yeah. Actually, I think he's actually the last person you serve when you do the pilot storyline off Naboo. When you go to serve in the Emperor's Royal Guard or whatever, you serve the Emperor's Royal Navy or whatever, you get to serve your last stint, I believe, is serving as part of Thrawn's fleet. So you serve as part of the 7th Fleet.
Hell yeah, dude. I would let Thrawn huff spice off my butt. I'm not gonna lie. I love that man so much.
Not gonna lie, based on how he looks and based on how he looked in Rebels, would.
Yeah! Oh, welcome to the party.
this is the party we're living. But yeah, no, those are primarily where our sources come from. I don't think Thrawn has had any other appearances in any other games. The only one I'm aware of is Forces of Corruption, where he serves as a antagonist role for the Zon Consortium in that campaign.
Okay.
Because he's part of the group that tries to... he's part of the group that basically jumps out of nowhere and starts whacking over Zon's people. And he also, I think, works to defend the... I think he actually works to defend the first Eclipse. The first Eclipse project.
Okay.
Because Tiber Zon and the Zon Consortium actually hit Kuat, and they take the first build of the Eclipse Super Star Destroyer.
Ooh.
That's
Can't do that.
That's why it's actually something of note for when we talk about Dark Empire is that the Eclipse we see there is actually the Eclipse 2. That is the second as a second prototype that they built. Or it was actually the finalized product that they built using the Eclipse 1 build. When Tiber Zon took off with it, far as I remember, he basically dumped the thing. He basically dumped the thing because he couldn't crew it, so I think he detonated the ship. I don't remember.
Honestly,
I don't remember precisely, but I'm sure we'll probably look back through that. Maybe if I ever actually do a run of the campaigns in Empire War, maybe we'll see it, but doubt. It'll be an interesting playthrough at the very least. Especially since I've mostly integrated into modded Empire at War. Going back into the original and trying to do everything with that formula. But yeah, I know Thrawn serves as an antagonist role in that campaign, so that's another source that's a brief mention we'll give to him, but most of our sources will pull from the actual novels that have existed for him.
Fair enough.
So obviously we have also mentioned that he appears in Sunterfell's story because he and Vader lead the battle of, what was it, Anuat, I believe? No, it was another planet. Hang on. Let me look back in my notes real quick.
It's one of them.
Because I know that's how Thrawn even learns about him in the first place, is they make this deal. He learns about him, and then later on, they make a deal. He and Isard make a deal, and she basically kidnaps him. She basically kidnaps Sunterfell and sends him off to serve Thrawn later on. And he actually ends up ruling
I'd get kidnapped by her.
They'll actually end up taking over the Empire of the Hand at some point later down the line, which that's another side of it to mention is the whole Empire of the Hand bit. We'll probably dedicate... There's enough there, we may actually dedicate that to a whole video.
Yeah.
But we'll probably make mentions of them here, because we kind of have to since we're using the Thrawn duology.
Yes.
Yeah, let's see here. Let's see where he and Dara 4. That was where they sent her, I believe. That was where he got sent. That was the place where Thrawn led that campaign. Thrawn and Vader were leading that campaign against the rebels.
Where was it?
Dara 4 was the name of the planet. Because that was where...
That seems like a little backwater planet in the middle of nowhere.
It was, if I recall correct. If I recall the maps correctly. I believe it was actually somewhere somewhere actually around like Ariadu and everywhere around that little corner.
They got that wild space twang, I betcha.
Not wild space, but definitely that outer rim backwater nowhere feel.
Dude, that's the okay. So I'm gonna tangent just a little bit.
Uh-huh.
The twang for the wild space citizens in the Thrawn book that we're reading, it's fucking dope.
Yeah.
I love the idea that wild space is just the far south. It's so cool.
Yeah, didn't know we were getting representation like that, but sure.
Yeah. How's it going, wild spacer? Welcome to Core Imperia. You don't belong here, weirdo.
Yeah, no, the Dara 4-bit is another thing we can kind of mention, because that's where Thrawn learns about Fel and where he kind of gets the idea to take him on for later projects.
Yep.
I guess we can... So, I think the best way to kind of look at it is kind of start from where it all comes together, where it all kind of formed. So we'll kind of take the look at the Heir to the Empire trilogy to kind of open this off, because we've mentioned everything we can about the others. We kind of mentioned all our other sources outside the book stuff. So I figure let's just start looking at Heir to the Empire and how that goes.
Yeah.
So we get our actual first appearance is literally within the first chapters of the book. Literally within the first chapter. Because Pellaeon gets the message and has to go deliver it to Thrawn. He's stopped by Rook, and they have their whole discussion. And eventually Pellaeon meets with Thrawn, and that is where we're introduced to probably the best written villain.
Our glowy-eyed commander himself.
Yep. Our blue skin, red-eyed master of tactics. Master of war, I guess, would just be the ultimate term for it.
The ultimate master of war.
The
only beaten because bad things happened.
Only beaten because plot.
Yep. Only beaten because plot demanded he be beaten.
Yeah. So we get the whole bit of him facing off with. We get the whole bit of him talking with Pellaeon, and then a whole bit of the. We get a whole bit of the Republic task force coming out of hyperspace and trying to attack him. And we get our look at how intricate Thrawn's tactics really go, and how he understands the enemies he fights. Thrawn, most Imperials are ones who, at a base level, just analyze a person by their tactics. However, Thrawn takes the idea of trying to fight like this. The best way to describe Thrawn is if you embodied the art of war as a character.
Shut the fuck up. Shut up that you said it that way. How dare you? I know you picked those words specifically. How dare you?
It's not wrong though.
You are absolutely 100% correct. Also, how dare you?
It's literally embodying Sun Tzu's art of war as a character. That is the best way to kind of like analyze Thrawn as a character. To give the like barest bones description, that is how you analyze that character. But he very much takes the idea of probably pull a quote he used from his actual first quote from Rebels from their trailer of season 3. To defeat an enemy, you must know them. Not simply their battle tactics, but their culture, their history, philosophy, art.
Definitely that last one. Especially that last one.
Thrawn is able, and I think the new books actually embody the idea of this. He is very much somebody who takes every second to analyze who he's dealing with, even when everything is happening around him. He is able to take that moment to analyze the situation around him.
Not even the situation, like the fucking musculature that you are showing.
He is able to tell your entire personality all off the musculature of your expressions.
Yeah.
The way you express yourself, he's able to read you. This man literally vibe checks you just from a glance.
Dude, he clocks you immediately.
Has you downloaded.
And he's dead right every time.
He has you downloaded before you even realize it.
Dog, he knows you better than you know you.
We're gonna be doing some fan wankery this fucking stream.
Hey, we're talking about Thrawn. It's bound to happen, dude.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. But yeah, no, we're gonna work on. We get the. Thrawn takes a moment to analyze the tactic of the New Republic strike force that shows up to hit him. It's like a bunch of assault frigates that show up, which, by the way, the assault frigate may or may not be one of my favorite New Republic ships. Or like
the
rebel
assault
ships.
pretty dope.
The assault frigate is a really, even if it's just a modified fucking dreadnought.
Yep.
It's literally just a modified dreadnought cruiser. That's all the fucking dreadnought is.
It's super
That's all
dope,
the fucking assault frigate is. It's so good. It looks so good. It's so fun. It's so good. But he reads their entire tactic plan just off the way that the attack force moves. And he identifies the race of the people actually attacking him. He actually identifies the commander of this strike force and is able to come up with a strategy based off the idea knowledge of the race that he is up against. The race of the commander he's up against is able to define what tactic he needs to use in order to best him, which is where we're introduced to the Marg Sable maneuver.
Now, here's another point in my favor earlier. The fact that he can know the enemy's race and know their tactics.
Without even seeing them, by the way.
Without even seeing them. He can find out their race and know their tactics, because they all act the same. My point, Bothans are all bad.
Shut.
Thrawn agrees.
Shut up. But he's able to go through that. He's able to do that, and he completely decimates that fucking battle group. Mark Sable maneuver, for those who don't actually know, has the ship that you are commanding take a rotation about 90 degrees. You rotate your ship 90 degrees, facing your primary hangar bay away from the enemy. So the enemy is firing at the top of your ship, essentially, which for a Star Destroyer, questionable considering where your bridge placement is, but the idea is the top of the Star Destroyer is supposed to have the most armor, and that's where the shields will be reflected anyway. All power goes to that section of the ship, and you effectively allow your fighters to come out from the hangar bay underneath your ship.
Yes,
Fighters flow out from around. They fly out from around the hangar, and your turbo lasers and laser cannons still have full firepower, because guess what? They are turrets with ability to turn the guns position, the guns position up, so that they can shoot. They can shoot outwards. They shoot up to actually target the enemy craft.
They aim up now.
And Thrawn uses this maneuver Thrawn uses this maneuver, and we actually see a similar version of this maneuver in the Clone Wars series, because Ahsoka uses this.
She uses it first, technically, so in canon, Ahsoka invented it.
Yeah, in canon, Ahsoka is the technical creator of the Mark Sable maneuver.
Not nearly as cool.
Not nearly as cool, but...
No, here's the thing. It'd be cool if she was actually the inventor of it, but she wasn't, and then Disney was just like, we're gonna take over for it.
Yeah, we get to see
actually, that was before Disney, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was before Disney. That was still when Lucas was still running that.
Yeah, they're like, oh, you know what'd be even cooler if Ahsoka invented it. And you're like, it already happened though. You can't just take someone's invention away from them and give it to somebody else. That's fucked up.
And yet,
I mean, invention, yes, but tactic and then take it as your own, nah, not as cool.
I mean, that's basically what Filoni's been doing forever.
Yeah, but when you do that, it lessens it makes it so the new person doesn't seem as cool.
Yeah.
You should have come up with you should have come up with the Filoni maneuver where he fucks over fucking Star Wars. I love you, Dave Filoni. Don't change. I love you some of the times. Change some of the times.
Change sometimes. Stop bullying these stop fucking taking from these damn authors and just outright killing their work. Stop making the work of these fucking Star Wars authors pointless. Stop it. Get some help.
Stop.
But he goes through this whole... The Mark Sable maneuver goes off, and from the hangar bays, TIE fighters and TIE bombers come flying out and are able to absolutely decimate the assault frigates that came out to hit him. Thrawn basically vanishes out.
Fucking annihilates them.
In a complete, like, throw off. Like, there's nothing the New Republic prepared for in that instance. They had no easy response to that maneuver.
Nope. Literally, the fight was like, it was over
in a
manner normal
of...
Imperial doctrine, Thrawn would have lost.
Normal Imperial doctrine, Thrawn would never have employed such a tactic.
Yes.
To put it in
so they would have just fucking got annihilated. Because it was, one Star Destroyer versus, 4 frigates?
It was three assault frigates and 2 squadrons of X-Wings.
Yeah. No, they would have absolutely gotten their fucking nuts handed to them.
They would have had their shit.
And then Thrawn's like, yo, what if I just twist just a little bit? What if I just twist?
We're
and
just
then
gonna...
fucking the Republic just dies. What if I just
what if I did a little
joystick this way?
What if I just did a little get rotated, idiot?
That'd be more like get rotated on, idiot.
Get rotated on it.
Get swifty. I'm going to rotate my fucking big ship 90 degrees.
But yeah, no,
and you will lose.
He hands the New Republic their ass in a supreme fashion. And the fucking craziest part, take note here, Disney, by the way, he's not a fucking Force user.
Yeah.
He
just knew how to do that.
As a fact, minor Chiss lore dump, the Chiss hate Force users. Force users in their culture are anathema to their existence.
Hates them almost as much as the Yuzong Fong do.
Like, they are... Force users are technically considered outcasts in their culture. The Chiss don't harbor... They don't harbor, Force users like that. Most of the ones that exist in their culture are usually not properly trained to any degree.
No.
And even the ones that are Force sensitive, and this will be something that actually comes up. This will be something that actually comes up in one of the later books for the new trilogy, is the Chiss's use of special navigators. They literally have their own... Let me put it this way. They are basically astropaths using the Force.
Hell yeah!
And what's weird about it is they are specifically young women.
Okay.
Specifically,
You know what?
like
That's fine.
the ages of 5 to 10.
Hell yeah, ladies. Get you some.
Because after the age of 10, their powers dwindle. By 14, they are expected to lose their powers outright. Why and for what reason, I don't know. It apparently is just some weird genetic thing or something or other. Because by like 14, these entities, and you'll hate this term, by the way, called Skywalkers.
Whoa! Okay, we're fine. I've recovered. We're fine now.
Are supposed to be the specially trained navigators that are able to use the Force that guide ships in the Chiss ascendancy through wild space. Because the Chiss are one of the only groups that have a way to map the coordinates around the they have a way to map their paths around the galaxy, or specifically around wild space. And it's through these special navigators that they are able to do this. But the problem is their navigators are so unique because, again, they are female children.
Yep.
That basically lose their powers by the time they enter their teens. Which may or may not be some sick analog for the death of childhood wonder, but
we won't talk about that.
We're not gonna touch on that because that brings up depression.
Don't need that.
There are exceptions to that rule, but usually those exceptions are regarded lessly by the Chiss ascendancy. So again, we're not gonna touch on it. There's a whole bit. The whole thing with being able to handle that is something interesting. And again, this is the whole bit about the New Republic fight in the first chapter, where Thrawn handedly owns the New Republic, like 3-0.
Hell yeah.
He lost maybe 4 TIE fighters the whole engagement.
That's pretty good.
And that was expressly when he sent the TIE fighters as basically a scout and analyzing group. He sent the TIE fighters out to basically scout his enemy. Try to get a read on what they're about. And from there, he was able to devise the whole tactic of using the Mark Sable and annihilating the New Republic task force. And we see throughout this book that Thrawn has been developing his own plan, and this kind of ties back to the his relation to the Empire of the Hand, because he originally was out in wild space. Thrawn was not one of the many Imperial officers there at the Battle of Endor. He was actually absent for that battle because he was off doing some stuff in wild space.
Now, if he was at Endor,
the battle would have been in
absolutely certain the rebels would have got their shit kicked in.
The rebels, you had Vader, you had the Emperor, and you had Thrawn. That was a losing battle for the Alliance. Had Thrawn been there,
Darth Vader would not have listened to Thrawn.
Well, Vader had his own agenda that whole time.
He still would have lost his shit. Absolutely. Which means right after the Executor dies, it probably wouldn't have crashed into the Death Star.
Do you think?
Because Thrawn would have been like, "Yo, that thing's got to move."
Or
move he probably would have out of here.
That, or he probably would have had all of his. He probably would have had a direction, probably would have directed all fire on the Executor as it was coming down, making sure that that thing was not gonna break, or at the very least they could minimize the damage to it.
Absolutely.
Because the goal was to defend the second Death Star. The objective of doing that kind of breaks when, and this is kind of something interesting that a lot of people kind of vary on. So we know technically the reason the Death Star exploded is because Lando and Wedge were able to blow up the reactor of the Death Star. They were able to blow up the reactor of the second Death Star, and that's how it exploded. Nobody else knows that. Nobody else knows that in the Empire. They all believed that it was the Executor crashing into it that did it.
Yeah.
So that's another like interesting though, and you get that note from Paleon. Like Paleon, when talking about Paleon's thoughts in one of the chapters, he brings up the idea of like how Piet basically lost the Executor and caused it to destroy the Death Star.
Yeah, because he's a man. Fuck Piet.
I mean, Piet couldn't
all the way.
He really was a fucking jobber.
It sucks how bad he was at his job.
I mean, Piet wasn't.
I bet you he got that job through nepotism.
Piet would. Well, he got his job because Vader killed Ozzel.
Yeah, nepotism.
I mean, it was literally he was the second in command. Paleon was the lieutenant he was the captain on the Star Destroyer. Admiral Ozzel was the commanding officer. Admiral Piet now became the commanding officer because his commanding officer is lying dead at his feet.
Yep.
Because because Ozzel did the fucky wucky. Ozzel did the fucky wucky and brought the ships in too close.
What an idiot.
And so that's how Piet even got the position. It was not even really a matter of nepotism. It was just he's the next in command. It was literally moving the chain of command up. There's no nepotism involved. He was the next man to take command.
So what I'm hearing is it's Vader's fault that his own ship got destroyed.
Well, technically it's the A-Wing that crashed into it, but
if Vader didn't kill his superior officer,
well, I mean, if Ozzel was still commanding it, that whole battle was gonna be hella fucking worse. Ozzel is a fucking awful commander.
I mean, they all kind of are.
Most of them, not all of them. There are actually a few interesting ones, some of which we may talk about. Because Paleon's one of those commanders who was part of that battle group. Because Paleon was there. He was there with the Chimera fighting at Endor. Paleon was one of the various admirals. He was one of the various captains leading that fight. Among those various admirals and captains leading that fight. Because there was, what, like 20 fucking Star Destroyers in that battle, not counting the Executor?
Yeah, and they all got job done by a fucking ragtag team of modified freighter ships.
It was a
cruise liners.
Yeah. And some fucking...
Who would win? The pinnacle of Imperial naval technology or
some fucking...
one ugly boy?
I mean... Technically,
you can't tell me that the fucking Mon Calamar ships aren't just the ugliest fucking things. They're horrifying to look at. They just look like space turds.
I have mixed opinions about the Mon Cal stuff, especially considering what comes later from them.
Okay, hold on. We're not talking about later. We're talking about what we see in the movies. They look terrible.
I mean, I'll say this much. I mean, we really only see two Mon Cal ships, and that's the Liberty and the Home One.
Yeah. And by that, you can kind of tell the Mon Cal design philosophy is: what if we made submarine in space?
I mean, that is basically what it is. Like that's
and
their
it looks
ship design.
terrible. They've got no style.
I mean, I'll say this: I like the Liberty. I'll come out and fucking say it. I like the Liberty. Home one, it's just the long boy. It's the sea cucumber in space. It's the sea cucumber in space. What do you want from me?
They're awful, dude. I hate the Mon Cal ships. Compared to the Star Destroyers, Mon Cal ships look like trash, dude.
I don't mind them. I'm not gonna say I love them. Like the various early Mon Cal ships are very much like meh in a lot of their designs. I like a lot of the Rebel craft that are not the Mon Cal ships. There's a lot of better looking craft and more interesting ones. Like we were just talking about the assault frigates.
Yes, the assault frigates are dope.
The like three variants there, the three different variants thereof, the prototype, the Mark 1, and the Mark 2. All three of those are very good. The Nebulon B, I think, is always going to be one that I will enjoy.
Nebulon B is pretty dope.
It is.
It's got a weird, funky style, and I'm here for it.
It is. Seeing that thing in Empire Strikes Back was one of the ones I'm like, that's a neat looking ship.
Yup.
But yeah, no, we're veering all over the place on this one.
Dude, it happens.
We have the whole bit of Thrawn, have that whole bit, and over the course of the rest of the story, we're seeing Thrawn build up to this grand scheme. One of those parts involves him meeting with the infamous Talon Card, who, again, would.
Yep. Absolutely.
Thrawn meets with Talon Card, and that's how he gets the Isalamiri.
Which I also think are kind of cool.
Yeah, a whole creature that is dedicated to nullifying the Force around them.
Yeah. I like little Force-hating weasels, dude.
Force-hating. I don't even really think they're weasels. They're actually supposed to be lizards, if I remember correctly.
They're like ferrets, dude.
They're weird, like ferret lizards. They're ferret lizards.
Yeah, okay, now we're entering the realm of Avatar: The Last Airbender.
I mean, fucking
turtle doves, dude. Or they're just turtles and doves.
Yeah, no, these things are 100% supposed to be lizards. Look at this fucking image. They are 100% lizards.
I gotta check. Let me look at these dudes.
Look at them boys.
Okay, yeah. Okay. Those are indeed lizards. However, from Jedi... Oh my god. Jedi Knight, Jedi Outcast. That's the right game, right? Kyle Katarn in it?
Yeah. I mean, all the Jedi games have them in there.
Yeah, okay. But I'm trying to remember the exact one. That one, when you pick up an Isalamiri, it is a little ferret. It is just a very long ferret, like a snake ferret. It's really long.
I mean, they're very much depicted various weird ways. Like, some of them try to depict them almost like... Because this one actually comes from one of the, there's some of these that very much don't make them look like lizards at all. But there's various ones that give them that same lizard thing. I like the idea that they are effectively just lizards, but cat.
Yeah.
They just sit. They just kind of hang over your shoulder.
Dude.
They just hang over your shoulder.
Yeah, they're friend shapes, dude.
They very much are a interesting. They're another weird, curious creature.
You know what I need you to look up?
What
the fuck do Vornsker look like?
Oh, Vornsker? Okay. Vornsker. Which we kind of have to talk about them too, because they also show up in there.
Yeah. Which is why I'm bringing it up. I want to know what Vornsker look like.
To put it bluntly, almost like Displacer Beasts.
Yo! Okay, yo, down. Super down. That looks dope. Yeah, you're right. They do look a little bit like Displacer Beasts. You know what? I'm completely okay with that.
There's some of them that actually. There's some of them that actually look like they have like a bit more fur around them. But the various ones I'm seeing, and especially the one that's depicted on one of the trading cards for one of the Star Wars trading card games, depicts it as this almost like, I'd almost call it like a jackal panther, almost. It's like a mix between a jackal and a panther that has this barbed tail.
Hell yeah. That sounds dope.
But the other ones I see are, because this is another one. This is another depiction of one.
Okay, what do we got? Yeah, that looks dope.
Yeah, there's ones that look a little more hairy than others.
I kind of like it without the fur. I like it a little better without it.
Like without the like big fluffy body.
Yeah.
The actual model for them in Empire at War has them with fur. So, Vornsker are another strange one because whereas the Asalamiri are force nullifiers, Vornsker specifically are force hunters.
Yep.
They actively hunt
using the Force.
They hunt using the Force and specifically target those with the Force in them.
Yep, which is why Islamiri are Force nullifiers, so they don't get hunted.
Mm-hmm. They're also...
Which I thought was super cool to learn. Like, that's so dope.
It's also interesting to know the Islamiri are... They have a very specific method of removing them from the branches that they cling to. Yes. You have to go through a very specific method, otherwise you kill the Asalamiri.
Because they are tied to the tree they live on.
And it's also interesting that Thrawn not only gave Asalamiri to his to the majority of his main command staff. He also gave out a Salamiri that he kept on board and basically bred.
Yep.
To hand out to his stormtroopers.
Yep. On their nutrient frames.
Mm-hmm. He gave squads of stormtroopers the ability to just nullify the Force. Sorry, Luke, but this one's not for you.
Really? I don't even think it was for Luke himself,
we know who it was
personally.
For, because now we talk about this motherfucker.
Yep, yeah.
Enter
fuck that guy.
Joruus C'baoth.
Fuck that guy.
Joruus C'baoth is... This is another... So here... Grabbing the Asalamiri was a smart part of Thrawn's, escalating plan. Allowing C'baoth to do things...
Yeah.
Was the problem.
Don't let him touch your stuff.
That was the first problem. And the only reason I know he let him do things was expressly so he could use the cloning facilities on Wayland.
It was mostly just to keep him away from Wayland, not so much that he would be allowed to use them.
Yeah,
because the real reason he grabbed C'baoth on accident, essentially, was yo, I can use battle meditation with this guy.
The Emperor had the power to embolden our forces, and you felt. He even brings this up to Paleon. You felt it at the Battle of Endor. like, this is when the Emperor passed, the cohesion that the Empire had been lost.
Yep.
Like, he brought that up and tried to poke Paleon on the subject, and Paleon was basically in disbelief that the Emperor was a Force user.
Okay. That
Okay.
part's the wildest to me. Like, everyone's just like, oh, look, he's still like the ha-ha little senator we had before the Jedi scarred him for life. Ha ha ha, ha ha ha. Look, he's only got yellow eyes and a horribly wrinkly face, and he speaks like a superhero villain.
Well,
like,
that's something that even the new Thrawn book addressed. Because you remember Eli Vanto, basically Thrawn's sidekick in that whole that whole story. He makes note of that when they're brought before the Emperor.
Yeah, he's like, yo,
this dude
he
ain't
looks
the same
nothing
dude on
like
the
the
fucking
Hollows.
He's not anything like the Holovins. And he makes note of the specific way the wrinkles are on his face. They're not just from age, they're almost like scarring.
Yeah. Dude, Eli is way smarter than he gives himself credit for. He sees through the lies of the Senate.
He knows he knows what's really going on. He's just like me, for real, for real. He's just like me, for real, for real.
Dude, if they make that into a movie, he's gonna be played by not Jake Gyllenhaal. Oh my god, what the fuck is his name? Oh my god, I'm losing it. My brain is melting live right now. You all know who I'm talking about. Fuck, I don't have to remember his name. Everyone knows. Everybody knows.
Yeah. Yeah, the whole thing.
I'm gonna look it up though, because it is driving me nuts.
But yeah, no, Thrawn goes to Wayland after getting the Asalamiri, meets the Emperor's protector, air quotes, that being a clone of the
Ryan Gosling. You got it. Okay, we're good. I got it.
You good?
I got it there. Yep, we're good.
You know, he goes to Wayland and grabs he goes to Wayland and tries to get access to Mount Tantus, where the Emperor's vault is. And in there he meets the Dark Jedi protector, essentially, who just so happens to claim he is Jorah Sabaoth, which Thrawn himself knows is the name of a dead man.
Yep.
Because to kind of wheel back the time frame a little, Thrawn, before serving in the Empire, was part of the Chiss Expeditionary Forces before the Clone Wars.
Yes.
Before the Clone Wars, he was a member of the Chiss Expeditionary Forces, and he was actively dealing with some of the encroaching, like, pirate gangs, and also dealt with a group of Trade Federation, basically exploiters, because let's be real, the Trade Federation does nothing but exploit the fuck out of people.
Yeah. They're really good at it.
They go out. He deals with all these forces, and eventually he comes upon the Republic's outbound flight project, which was being attacked by a group of barbaric aliens from wild space. And
I wonder who that would.
Actually, it is not who you think it is, but
Really?
no,
Insane.
no, it is not those. It is specifically a different group that I think actually shows up in the later parts of the Thrawn book, or in the Thrawn Ascendancy books. I don't remember which. It's one of those. But they show up, and Thrawn and his force come in and help the ship. But when he finds out about what's going on the ship, and how Jorah Sabaoth basically is going fucking apeshit on the ship, he basically orders
he's
take down the
adult-sized Jedi Master temper tantrum.
Yeah. And from what I actually remember of Sabayoth throughout that book, that man is he's as fragile as a snowflake on Twitter.
Oof.
Able to melt away and start a fucking firestorm all from one fucking comment.
Yep.
That man is... You think Anakin is hot-headed. Sabayoth takes the cake for, you did something, you pissed me off. You did something...
Sabayoth is also insane.
He is absolutely insane. Like, even the way
Anakin was kind of an asshole and power-hungry.
Well, Anakin wasn't necessarily power-hungry. His whole thing was he wanted to save his wife. That was his whole thing. He just wanted to be able to protect and save his wife. There was no actual malicious...
to do that.
There was no... Well, he wanted the ability. It was not necessarily the power, because he knew there was a way he could do it. But it required him to be a master to do it. It required him to become a Jedi Master. That's the one hitch.
Imagine having Force healing locked behind a title.
I mean, he's done. It's not a matter of even force healing. So the actual abilities he was looking for were some other... The actual abilities he was trying to look for were some other thing. But ultimately, it was simply a matter of... He tried to reach for something that Mace Windu specifically denied him. Because we love you, Samuel Jackson, but unfortunately, fuck Windu.
Yeah, Windu's kind of an ass.
We love Samuel Jackson, but unfortunately, Windu's only cool redeeming trait, unfortunately, is the purple saber.
Yeah. The fact that he got the coolest fucking saber.
I mean, even his actual, like, saber hilt, it was pretty cool. It's funnier too because they originally tried to give him a blue saber. Like, Windu was gonna have a blue saber originally, and in episode 2, Samuel Jackson changed it so that he had a purple saber now.
Yep.
And in lore, they changed it to where Windu did have a blue saber before, but they gave him a new saber because he lost it in a battle. His saber was destroyed in a battle, and he had to construct a new one, I believe, was the narrative there. And so he made a new saber, forging it with a purple crystal imbued into it. And the entire reason he even got it was specifically Samuel Jackson said, I wanted something different.
Yeah.
And he got something different. He got a purple saber, which was the first new color we got since the induction of the green saber. The green lightsaber was technically our first new color of saber in Star Wars until the purple saber. It's wild to think about. But yeah, no, our whole thing, the whole thing with Sabayoth is he was originally a Jedi Master in the days of the Republic that died aboard the outbound flight. And Thrawn made sure he died aboard the outbound flight.
Yep. Because
he learned of what Sabayoth's intentions were, and they were not in any way good. And so Thrawn reluctantly fired upon, or made the order and fired upon the ship. Had the outbound flight project destroyed.
Yeah, have to.
And so... And... I believe later he actually goes and joins I think he actually joins a brief stint as an officer in the Republic, I believe.
Ooh.
I think he serves a brief stint towards the end of the Clone Wars as an officer in the Republic. And then is later serving as a officer in the Empire, whereupon he eventually becomes an Admiral. So he actually has a commanding role in there. Because by the time we see him in by Fel's point of view, he is an Admiral, not a Grand Admiral.
Yeah.
He has not earned that. He has not become one of the 12 Grand Admirals yet.
He hasn't been deemed good enough by the Emperor yet.
He's not there yet. But he gets.
I mean, he is, but
I mean, he is not in their eyes good enough yet.
Yeah, but he definitely super was.
He 100% was. But we get that whole bit. He's he's leading campaigns for the Empire, and all at the same time, following the Battle of Dara 4, he actually is sent to deal with he is sent by Palpatine before the Battle of Endor to embark on a project in the unknown regions. And this is where he starts building up his own base of power alongside the Chiss Ascendancy, not in the Chiss Ascendancy.
Yep.
Because the Chiss allow him to form this joint power group with the Empire to basically build a defense for what is to come from outside the galaxy. Which again is why Palpatine was even building the Death Stars to begin with. So, yeah. In Legends, he had a genuine reason. In canon,
good reason.
In canon, not so much.
No, canon was more like, haha, I'm a cartoon villain. Ha ha ha. Look, I can destroy all the worlds. Ha ha ha.
It was kind of a shame that
Yo, it's bad out there. We need to get prepped, dude.
Yeah, something bad's out there. What do you mean something bad's out there? Something real bad's out there. I mean,
Moon's haunted.
I'm using that for when we actually talk about them. I'm using that.
Moon's haunted. That's good.
But we see this whole thing. We see that whole thing go on, and eventually Thrawn gets he meets Sabayoth, and they start building up and preparing. Thrawn is taking this time to build up the forces he needs, using the cloning facilities in Mount Tantus. He uses those to basically build up a crew. He uses them to build up enough crews for various ships later on. We get to those later. Eventually he starts prepping up for he leads an attack on the, was it Aurora Sky, I think is where he goes and hits?
Yes.
It was Aurora Sky, or Aurora Sky was, I believe, the one where he actually appeared first. I want to say it was something else. No, it was... Aurora Sky. Let me see here. Give Thrawn the location. Okay, so it was not Aurora Sky, I believe, where Thrawn hit. Do not believe Thrawn led the attack on Aurora Sky initially. I do believe he went and attacked I do believe he hit something. He hit another planet, I believe. Let's see here.
I could have sworn it was a Aurora Sky. Maybe that's only because I think that's really the only other planet I remember.
May very well be. I'm trying to look for it. Oh yeah, that's right. He does appear in there was another game Thrawn actually does appear in, the TIE Fighter games.
Oh,
He does appear in TIE Fighter.
dope.
Yeah. Do. I'm trying to see where it actually states the planet he hit.
Should be pretty early on in the book. Star Wars Wiki. Gotta love how unintuitive it can be sometimes.
Yeah, really.
You're like, what planet did Thrawn hit? And he's like, here's a list of every planet he hit. Can I have them in chronological order? No.
Bibfash. That was it.
Bibfash. There you go.
Bibfash was the...
Bibfash.
That was the place where Thrawn led a strike against a... He actually led a proper attack against the... Or I guess it'd be more accurate to call it a raid against the New Republic.
Yeah,
Thrawn,
he didn't do much of attacking.
Thrawn doesn't start really doing any full-blown strikes against the New Republic until the Battle of Sluis Von. The Battle of Sluis Von is technically his first real engagement with the New Republic.
Yep, and then it was fucking open season on the Republic, dude. It was bad.
Because Thrawn hits Bibfash, he uses that as an example, and later deploys some Nogarai to try to basically nab Leia when her and Han lead a... basically go over there with Rogue Squadron to investigate, basically lead a relief mission.
Yep.
They try to lead a relief mission to Bibfash, and Leia and Han's only able to do... Han's the one who actually, like, figures out that everything's wrong in the whole situation when a fake version of the Millennium Falcon appears.
Yep. Which is a crazy good tactic, dude. Like, holy shit. Imagine the ship you've flown for decades shows up to save you, and it's not the same ship. I would have fucking fallen for it. Absolutely.
Well, I mean, the reason he actually doesn't is because he didn't notice that the automated gun wasn't firing. Because the Millennium Falcon has its own, like, underbelly automated blaster cannon.
Yeah.
And he realized that it wasn't that because they weren't firing on the enemies that were shooting at them. So he realized that it wasn't Chewie in the Falcon there. And he uses
Chewie would
that.
have absolutely lit them the fuck up.
Absolutely. Like, on the ground, he is absolutely lighting motherfuckers up there.
Chewie is the typical, like, I will rip your arms from its socket Wookiee.
He ends up he actually uses Leia's saber to basically disable the ship. Like, he breaks one of the, like, repulsor engines or whatever on the Falcon, on the fake Millennium Falcon that they brought in, and uses that to basically cause it to lift off prematurely and crash.
Yup. God, these books are so dope.
Thrawn's plan kind of takes another step further later on when he encounters or when he basically sends a strike team to Niklon, where he goes and sends some mole miners, or basically nabs a bunch of mole miners from Lando Calrissian.
Yep. Lando got caught with his pants down.
One of the few times he does, but...
Yep. Oh, and dude, he fucking never forgets it this entire book series.
Nope.
It haunts him. Like, that sucks, dude.
It was unfortunate for Lando there. Because, I mean, that was apparently they actually did... apparently that was actually something they cover in a previous book, I think. In a book that comes up later on, they actually detail how Lando gets the mole miners, I think. It was like in a comic or something.
Probably. That sounds about right that it'd be in a comic.
But they take that, and later on after taking 51 mole miners,
that's so.
Thrawn basically ambushes Luke on his way to Jomark after Sabayoth reaches out to him.
Use the Force, Luke.
Thrawn catches him in the Athega system, and they try to tractor beam him. Where, by the way, this is one of the few moments I give Luke, like, that was a fucking baller tactic.
That was a dope move.
Throwing a fucking proton torpedo into the tractor beam's targeting. He whipped the fucking fighter around, fired a proton torpedo towards the tractor beam, and then proceeded to dip out of there just in time for it to fucking catch the proton torpedo.
Dude, not only that, but like he threw it not towards the tractor beam, he threw it into the range of the tractor beam, so they thought they grabbed the fighter, but they actually grabbed the torpedo and just like, haul that bitch in.
You boom!
Boom! Who did that?
And this is where, in any other instance, the guy responsible would have been, like, everybody responsible would have been fucked over for it.
Oh, yeah.
But
Murdered by your superior commander. The commissar would have come in and shot you in the head.
But Thrawn is a much more understanding individual.
Yeah.
He only punished the guy who actually performed the targeting.
That's right. Much to everybody's horror.
Because he had Rook literally jump into the fucking crew pit and stab that motherfucker in the throat.
Yup.
Rook
and the best part is, like, Palion's like, I liked serving under Thrawn because he doesn't just murder people like Vader did. If you fucked up on Vader's ship, it was an instant death sentence.
And then that proceeds to happen. And this is all after that whole thing happened. Like, yeah. He's thinking this to himself after that whole instance happened. And again, he's right. Vader would have been the type of person who 100% everybody on this bridge, you're either out of here or you're dead.
Either way, you're leaving this bridge.
Thrawn was very much we make an example here.
Yeah, Thrawn is very much, we don't throw away useful tools.
We only throw away the useless ones.
Yup.
You can't do the job.
That poor fucking dude.
You can't do your job right. You don't deserve to be here.
Dude, the worst part was like, who trained the... Okay.
And this is where... Who
trained this guy? I trained him. You trained him? Bam! Train another one, but better. Woo!
It straight up was like that, too. Like... Yeah. They make the whole it's a fucking crazy instance too, because it's one of those, like, that's where it really shows this version of Thrawn is very much a villain. This version of Thrawn is a villain. The one in canon, I'd argue, is more of an anti-hero.
Oh, absolutely.
Especially
he's doing the best thing for the galaxy, but his methods probably aren't the best.
He is very much using some questionable methods, but at the same time, he's trying to make sure that the most people benefit.
Yeah. He's literally weighing pros and cons every moment of his waking life.
Yeah, he's weighing out the most beneficial outcome. That's what he's looking for. Thrawn in canon is the individual looking for the most preferred outcome for everybody involved. Thrawn in Legends is the one doing the same thing, but he is all the more cold about how he does it.
Yeah. Okay, here's the thing. In Legends, it's because if he doesn't do it the correct way, it will fail, and there's no second chance.
Yeah, because he's running the same gambit the Rebellion did, essentially, which is why he employs a lot of their tactics throughout the entire trilogy. He's running their playbook against them.
And better.
because he has a much better equipped he has a much better equipped force to use it.
Dude, even without the better equipped force, he would still be running circles around them because he's just smarter than they are. I will fillet this man to death.
Yeah, he goes through that whole bit, and we don't really see Thrawn again until he appears again on Mercure, where he goes to meet with Talon Card and tries to basically starts pressuring him into working alongside him.
Yep.
He literally puts the pressure against Card in that whole dialogue.
And the best part is he does it effortlessly. Like, Card only realizes it after the conversation's done. He's like, "Oh, fuck.
We may have made a miscalculation here.
I may have fucked up just a little bit."
And for reference, Card is basically the smuggler's equivalent to Thrawn.
Yeah.
That's one thing I will say here. There is a very good spread of a individual from each piece that represents almost a essence of Thrawn. They kind of mimic the same essence of Thrawn.
They're Thrawn, but in their respective field.
Because you have Thrawn, who in this instance is the basically tactical mastermind for the Empire. You have Talon Card, who is basically the neutral mastermind. And then when we eventually meet our New Republic mastermind, it becomes a real battle again.
Yep.
But for right now, Thrawn goes back to Mercure, gets more of Salamiri, and effectively takes a mass of them with him.
So many of them.
And he also has some of his men investigate a scuffle between two skip ray blast boats that crashed in the forest.
Yeah, it's weird how that happened.
Yeah, it totally doesn't have anything to do with a Jedi Skywalker.
No. Or his soon-to-be wife.
The former Emperor's Hand, who was on the run after Isard.
Not gonna lie, I think Mara Jade would.
100% would. Dude, I say it to this
Luke,
day.
you fucking lucked out, dude.
Dude, I say it to this day. Mara Jade is a character I want brought back to canon.
Oh, hell yeah, dude.
I'd love to see them bring Mara Jade to canon. She is another example of a good female character done. A good written female character.
Yes.
Because she is obviously strong because she's a force sensitive, but in her own right, she has the independent power that she should carry as a force user. Like, she knows the power she has, and she knows the position she had.
Yeah. And
she uses all of her abilities from using that position to basically put her in the places she is. Like, yeah. She is a good written female character.
She has
not flaws. Not to be confused with Rey, who is a bad written female character.
Yeah, Mara Jade has flaws. She has weaknesses, strengths. She's very well-rounded.
And this is something that this is another thing that I give Star Wars credit a lot. Star Wars has a multitude of better examples of a good written female character. Phenomenally written female characters.
Dude, they have just good written characters in general.
Like,
for the most part.
For the most part.
90% of the characters are good.
90% of the characters are good or at least interesting.
Yes.
But there are...
even the shitters are interesting.
Even the shitters. Because as much as we hate Phalia, he serves his role as somebody to hate and does his fucking, like, underhanded shit sublimely.
He does the best job at being someone to hate.
He does the best job at being someone to hate.
Dude, he's so good at his job, I hate all Boffins, dude. This man single-handedly made me racist to Boffins.
It's wild. But, yeah, no, we go through that whole bit there, And eventually, we finally reach Thrawn's first actual strikeout against the New Republic. That being the Battle of Sluis Von.
What a fucking cool battle.
Dude, that was easily one of the fucking wildest fights. It's even wilder, because there's this guy who does animated Heir to the Empire series on YouTube. He does like a 3D CG animated series.
Oh, you need to send me the link for that when we're done.
Look up, what is it, Darth Angelus, I think is his name. I have him subscribed. His most recent chapter of doing the Thrawn book was actually the Battle of Sluis Von. He just covered that battle.
Darth Angelus. Oh, like these are like full-length fucking short films and shit. Oh, this is dope.
Yeah, he is.
All right, subscribe. Okay, we're good.
Yeah, he does phenomenal work on those. Like, some of the model work, questionable, but overall, the way he portrays everything, amazing. He captures the essence of the Heir to the Empire.
I can overlook bad models. That means nothing to me. Is the story
we lived
awesome?
We lived with the early 2000s Cartoon Network bullshit.
Dog, I watched and loved Reboot.
Okay.
I can deal with jank models and some bad animation.
We can live with it. But he captures the whole essence of that battle amazingly. Like, he captures the danger that is present there. He captures every scene of, like, the stormtroopers boarding from the mole miners. It's amazing.
Dude, the first time I heard about a space trooper, I was so hype.
I actually had a model or a figure of a space trooper once. I had a action figure of a space trooper once. I don't know what the fuck happened to it, but the space trooper is easily one of the wildest. Like, that's one thing I will say. The variants of Stormtrooper are arguably cooler than the Stormtrooper themselves.
Oh yeah.
Because getting to see Stormtroopers in different styles makes them stand out a lot more. It makes them look a lot cooler than just the blank white Stormtrooper.
Yeah. Dude, the space trooper, the fact that he's got fucking proton torpedo launchers on his back is so fucking cool.
It's fucking insane.
Oh my god.
It's even wilder when they go over scenes of, like, the X-Wing shooting at the space troopers that are flying off the fucking holes.
Yeah.
Like, they've got them targeting these little pinprick dudes in their fucking viewport, shooting them out of their fucking hover stance.
Oh, dog.
It's so such a cool fucking good fight. For the first actual, like, big fight against Thrawn, it was such a good fight.
Dude.
And it was even cooler.
Love the Sluis Van fight. It's just I think it's one of the best ones in Star Wars in general.
It's even better because Thrawn uses that whole thing to basically he manages to steal 39 ships or something like that.
Yeah.
Of the 112 warships that were in that system, he's able to run off with like 39 of them.
Yep. It is such a masterful stroke too, because he's able to, one, decrease the combat capability of the of the Republic.
It's even crazier.
Then increase his own strength while doing it.
So what's even wilder is the whole battle starts out with a giant cargo freighter that effectively goes critical.
Yeah.
He starts this off by causing a freighter to go critical, shooting all the fragments off, which just so happen to be the mole miners.
Yeah.
All the fragments from that freighter are just the mole miners that were attached to it.
Yep. Well, it's because he doesn't. Yeah, that thing has the stealth field in it too.
Mm-hmm.
He developed stealth technology for this plan.
Well, I mean, the Empire had stealth technology,
but they didn't have it working.
They did. Well, they only had it on a micro scale because they really only had it for the Phantom.
Yeah. So he was like, you know what? We can make this bigger and better. And
in timeline order, the Phantom technically existed by this point, and that was the only ship they had that had a cloaking field. And he was able to use that same thing to basically he was able to use this to basically mask the presence of all the mole miners and the crew aboard them.
Dude, not even mole miners, the TIE fighters too, because when it explodes, TIE fighters also pour out.
Yeah.
But those were just the distraction again to keep eyes away from the mole miners. Dude,
and then all the while,
dude, it's so cool.
It's just such a fucking good fight. And though it's the last fight in that book, which ultimately while Thrawn didn't get all the ships he wanted, he was still able to make off with a third of that whole force.
Yeah.
He made off with easily about a third of that entire force that was stationed there. 39 warships out of 112. Considering he went in with basically a scrapped together force of TIE fighters and mole miners, only accompanied later by the fleets of Star Destroyers that would eventually slave circuit the ships to it.
Okay. We also forgot to mention the fact that all of the hit and fade attacks that Thrawn was doing over like Republic space was so he could cripple enough ships that they would go to Sluis Van for repairs.
And also to draw away forces from the defensive Sluis Van.
Yeah.
He wanted their attention drawn elsewhere so he could hit Sluis Van and attack it.
God, dude.
Though he was ultimately forced to retreat, he still was able to come back, because guess what happens now? Now he's on the hunt again, and while he misses Card, when he goes back to find out that Card is basically up and fucked off.
Yup.
He eventually goes and furthers his plan of using the Nogarai to basically hunt down Skywalker and Leia.
Yup.
He goes after Luke and Leia, and all the while, they've officially arrested Admiral Akbar.
Yes, because Fey'lya is an asshole. Because
Fey'lya and Akbar have been going at this back and forth, where Akbar is very clearly seeing the problem at hand, and Fey'lya is basically like, no, there's no problem here, you're delusional. Stop living in the past and wanting there to be conflict. Don't worry about this.
Yeah, don't worry about it. There's nothing going on. Don't look at the man behind the curtain.
Seriously, don't look at the man behind the curtain.
Don't look at him behind the curtain, dude. He's wrinkly and old and gross. He's terrifying.
But eventually Akbar is in prison, and they use this whole thing for Fey'lya basically to seize power.
Yeah.
Because Fey'lya is basically in on the whole thing, even though he don't know it.
Fey'lya
is being played.
Is being played, but he's being played because Thrawn knows what Bothans are like. And Bothans are like, I smell blood in the water, it's my turn. I'm gonna be the leader now. Because that's what Bothans are like. Which is why I hate Bothans.
While all this is happening, eventually Thrawn is having to deal with some dissent amongst the Nogarai because they've made contact with the... What did they call her? The...
Starts with an M.
It's the, like... Harivalsh or something like that.
Yeah. No, that... You skipped Kashyyyk entirely.
No, well, Kashyyyk happens while the Battle of Sluis Van is happening.
Yes. Because
Leia gets jumped when she and Chewbacca basically go to Kashyyyk to find sanctuary. Nogarai assassins are sent there to capture her and bring her to bring her to Sabayos.
Malariush.
Malariush. I was close.
Yep. I'm saying like it starts with an M. What is it? And then
it
it just popped into my head. I didn't even look it up. I feel proud of myself for that one. I didn't even look it up.
they go after Leia on Kashyyyk, and while there, they basically, the Noghri assassins are all dealt with except for one, which they managed to capture, all at the cost of Chewbacca's cousin, but
yeah,
he was still able to help protect Leia in the ensuing battle. In the whole fight there, they were able to protect Leia nonetheless and gain a captive out of it, who would later be identified as Kabarak.
Good old Kabarak.
Which ultimately cements Leia's drive and decision to basically take her status as the daughter of Vader.
Yep.
And go on to try to go and basically usurp the Noghri from under Thrawn.
Yeah. She does a hell of a good job of it, too.
It is actually a pretty good way she does it, especially when she plays the whole thing of carrying the heirs of Vader's legacy.
Yup.
Because at this point, she is in fact still pregnant with twins, specifically Jaina and Jason Solo, as we would come to know them later.
Dun dun dun.
There's a dun. No, that premature on the dun dun dun. Because
I don't know about that.
It's premature because what happens with them is when we can start actually doing that. So they eventually get the idea to go to Honoghr, where the Noghri homeworld is. Leia learns there that the planet was wrecked during the Clone Wars, and when the Empire discover it later on, Vader basically uses the whole thing to play up that it was a rebel scheme, that they tried to weaken their people, and Vader was basically worshipped as a god because he tried to become their savior, essentially. Air quotes, savior.
Yup. Big air quotes.
I mean, he made an effort, it was just a very lazy effort.
He made an effort, but the effort was just enough to keep them servile for the rest of their existence.
Yeah, because he basically had them scrubbing the toxins with very basic machinery, which would still take them years upon years to finish. Whereas Leia brought forth the whole idea that we have ways we could do this way more effectively. The Empire fucking lied to you.
Yeah. This should have been done within a fucking season.
And she uses her relations with the Noghri now to basically build on that crutch, which comes to serve as a hindrance for Thrawn later. Because this is where Thrawn starts to kind of regress on his standing, because he starts basically trying to he basically starts underestimating the Noghri and their ability to overthrow him by this point. Because by this point, all the keys are set, everything is in order. Cyberioth has Skywalker, we've got Mara Jade in our pocket now, we've dealt with Talon Card, everything is good. What do you mean Jade helped Talon Card escape?
Fuck you mean, no? Excuse me, sir, nuh-uh.
Because by this point, Talon Card is taken prisoner by Thrawn, and Jade has basically been captured as well, but due to her service as the Emperor's hand, and Thrawn knowing she is one of the Emperor's hands, which, by the way, a loosely guarded secret only in Palpatine's inner circle.
Yup. Which is, and the thing is he doesn't actually know for sure. He surmises that that's what that is.
He basically...
It's not like he was told. He found out on his own.
Mm-hmm. He is able to sway Mara Jade to his side temporarily, and I say temporarily in that she was basically there for a few days before she makes her escape and breaks Card out of prison.
Yup.
they make their escape and they get off the Chimera and go off to try to find Luke, effectively, is what happens. They end up on Jomark, they come across Luke training with Sabayoth, and Sabayoth obviously is batshit insane, so he's trying his damnedest to fucking get Luke to understand, look, you're gonna learn this evil power that totally does evil shit. You're just gonna have to understand that.
I'm gonna turn you into a mini me.
But I don't want to be a mini you. I didn't even want to be a mini version of my father.
Well, that's too damn bad, he says as Luke yells, Grandpa, I'm tired.
And then Mara Jade comes out of here like, hold your fucking shit, old man.
Hold this L, loser.
Hold this fucking L, loser. But she 100% catches him off. He is completely thrown off by Mara Jade. That's the one person that throws him off.
Yup, and then he gets so mad.
The entire bit he's thrown off and he's pissed. Luke, Mara, and Talon Card all escape. They're off to New Republic space to warn them of what's about to happen. Because apparently, they now have information about the infamous Dark Force. Now you can hit the dun dun dun.
Dun dun dun!
A myth amongst those in the Empire and the New Republic by this point. The Dark Force was a fleet of over, 200 modified dreadnought cruisers?
Yeah.
No, identified as the Katana fleet, specifically.
Fucking love the Katana fleet.
200 slave rig dreadnoughts.
Yep, I fucking love the Katana fleet, dude. They're so fucking cool. Ugh.
These were modified dreadnoughts that Han Solo had also made contact with the other piece of this mastermind trifecta, the believed to be dead Corellian senator, Garm Bel Iblis.
Fucking love Garm Bel Iblis. God damn, he's so cool!
Iblis comes out with the Peregrine and 2 other dreadnoughts, all of which are part of the legendary Katana fleet.
Wow, that's crazy how that happened. Whoa, who would have thought? Wow.
And so now they have Iblis's force. Han Solo has the knowledge that the force exists. Talon Card knew the location of this place. And with Han's information and the New Republic finding out through Talon Card, Leia and Talon Card go off to basically try to gather the Dark Force.
Dark Force is such.
However,
that is such a Star Wars ass name, and they call it that only because of the paint job. But that's insane.
However, Leia also wants to go along with them.
Yeah, Philly's a jackass.
Because he wants to find out that this is not the real thing that they say it is. This is all some myth, and he wants to prove all of them wrong. And even if it is correct, he's there to take every ounce of credit.
Yeah.
However, the only credit Leia is taking home is this L.
Yeah, dog.
Because not only do they get to the Katana fleet after Thrawn, they also get there after Han and Luke lead a fucking strike force to try to take some of the ships anyway.
Yep. Dude, okay, hold on. Can we talk about the submarine casino?
Oh, we're gonna talk about the fucking, the casino on Pentolaman?
Yeah, dude, how fucking cool is that?
That is
also
a fucking
the fact
cool idea.
that, like, they're getting shelled from space, and Thrawn's like, aim there. We're going to try and aim right there. We're disabling this thing. And then they send in the stormtroopers, and even, like, the casino guards are like, we're fucked, dude. We're all gonna die.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man, dude, what a cool scene.
Yeah, the Coral Banda, that's what it was called.
Yeah, it's a submarine casino that goes around a beautiful coral reef.
Yeah, they had...
And even Thrawn, as he's shelling the coral reef, like, we have to do this. It sucks because the nature's artistic beauty in this coral reef will be destroyed, but it has to be done.
Yeah, and this is all because the Star Destroyer Relentless had been attacked by Evless at the system.
Yep.
And Thrawn had sent the criminal Niles Ferrier to basically find Iblis's supplier.
What a fucking grubby little bitch. I hate Niles Ferrier.
He's such a fucking dick.
He's one of those guys that's like, he reminds me of what the fuck, a Worm Tongue from Lord of the Rings. Where he's just like, yes, of course, here's what we're gonna do. Don't worry, don't kill me. I have a plan. We can do this. Hey, 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 hey. Just fucking whispering sweet nothings into Thrawn's ears so that way he doesn't die. And then Thrawn's like, you know what? No, I'm done with this shit.
Yeah, they
do your job.
Yeah, Niles Ferrier is another key piece of Thrawn's puzzle, unfortunately, though he kind of gets by the time the Katana fleet is officially,
just desserts.
He very much catches his fucking just desserts. Because
fuck that guy.
After they basically take the Katana fleet and start building up their force with Thrawn's new clone army, which he has been using specifically with the intent of building these up as soldiers to fill out the ranks of the Imperial Army and the crews that he would eventually need for all of these new ships that he took.
Yup, like the Katana fleet.
The Katana fleet and the 39 warships he took from Sluis Vaughn.
Yup. Hey man, how else are you gonna crew all those ships other than
that was actually
horrid way.
And the fact that that's the tactic that they go for, that's another reason why I like the boarding shuttle mechanic in Thrawn's Revenge in the Empire Warmon. That's such a fun mechanic. Getting to have these special shuttles that effectively you could just take an entire fucking super ship from an enemy.
Yeah. Like, you made this, I made this.
Huh. That's a mighty fine Star Destroyer you got there.
Would be a shame if someone were to yoink.
This is mine now.
This belongs to me now. Thank you for spending the resources to make this, but it's mine now.
Dude, the amount of times I
appreciate you built it really well for me.
The amount of times I abused that as the New Republic and the Empire is fucking obscene. It's so fun just to fucking run in with the boarding shuttle. Take this big ass ship that the enemy had on hand and be like, this is mine now.
Oh wow, you guys actually made the Executor? That's great, man. What do you mean yours? Yoink. Stop that.
Imagine just having an Executor taken out from under you. Fucking imagine.
Dude. Immediate like self-termination.
I mean, Isar didn't. Well, actually, no, she did the second time she lost it.
Yeah.
She did fucking just outright get herself killed.
Yep, like, yeah, bye. Man, it sucks that I lost that really cool ship. I guess it's all ogre now.
It's so good, dude. I love that mechanic. It sucks that the faction I'm doing this fucking Empire War playthrough doesn't have boarding shuttles. Singe doesn't get boarding shuttles, and that fucks me up so hard. That's one of the reasons I'm really hoping when I can integrate the Empire, I get it to Thrawn's level and I can just take Niles Ferrier as a hero.
Yup.
Just gotta take Niles Ferrier as a hero, that way I get a ship thief. Because Niles,
I too can steal ships.
Now I too have my own ship thief.
I can take all of the ships. Hey, Niles, go take the coolest ship you can find.
Which one? All of them.
All of them.
And
if you don't, you know what awaits you. Horrible death.
Which ultimately is what hits him anyway, but...
Yeah.
Ferrier doesn't get a happy ending after trying to undermine the Smugglers Alliance.
Dude. He fucking, like, gets it, dude.
You know, so following the whole acquisition of the Katana fleet, Thrawn starts officially making full-blown campaigns against the New Republic. And he does so using a very interesting tactic. This being where he uses the gravity well generators of the immobilizer cruisers to basically interdict Star Destroyers and Dreadnoughts so that they come out at a specific point and are basically precise jumped to the exact spot he needs them.
Yep. God, dude, Thrawn's so... I can't sing the praises of Thrawn enough, dude. He's so fucking smart and cool.
And we're only gonna be singing him higher because while he's able to basically put the New Republic in their place for a lot of this campaign, because he eventually takes I think he takes 7 planets from the New Republic. Because he takes Ukio, Ando, Filv, and Krondra. He also takes a couple other ones later, and eventually makes his way to Coruscant.
Yup.
He carves a fucking path right back to Coruscant and sets the most amazing trap possible.
Dude, it's so good.
An array of specially crafted asteroid vessels, all disguised to actually act as ships, and all of them stealth field generated. A mass array of stealth field asteroids that he pulls out of the planet, locking the planet down for weeks.
Yup.
Only because Garm Bel Iblis came in and was able to identify, yeah, they're gone. What do you mean they're gone? They're gone.
Yeah.
How do you think I got here?
20 of them.
How do you think I got here?
Yeah, sure. The ship's fired 100 times, but there's only 20 fucking asteroids, dude.
And none of them are here anymore.
Yeah, we got them all.
We got them all. That set the entire New Republic back. But even then, it all comes together. It's during the same battle where Sabayoth has another strike team come in. And this time, he's not after Leia anymore. He's after Leia's kids.
They are born at this point.
They are, in fact, born at this point. They are born towards the middle of the book. Or the middle half of the book. Start of the middle half of the book. He is... The two twins, Jason and Jaina Solo, are born on Coruscant. And they are being, at this point, guarded not only by Leia's handmaiden Winter. By the way, also another dope. Fucking badass.
And Wood.
But they are also being protected by Mara Jade and one of Talon Card's men.
Who I think is probably the most endearing member of Talon Card's crew.
He is one of his more endearing ones, yes.
He just wants to play with computers, that's all.
He's just a fucking slicer looking to fucking play with computers.
He's just a nerd.
He's just a fucking nerd. But the whole thing, during the battle, another strike team is sent, basically with Sabayoth having lost faith in Nogri, on board the Death's Head, Sabayoth sends an Imperial intelligence team to Coruscant to basically kidnap Leia and her children.
Yep.
And
he does this out from underneath Thrawn.
He basically is undermining Thrawn the whole 9 yards. As a fact, he goes as far as setting up his own palace within the fucking vault of Mount Tantus.
Yep.
He goes as far as setting up this vault on Mount Tantus, or setting up this throne room in Mount Tantus, and hides out there, basically waiting for the Jedi to come to him at this point.
Yep. You will come to me. Not like that.
And then And then the other and then by this point, Thrawn is preparing for probably his biggest attack yet. The strike at the Bilbringi shipyards.
God fucking.
The Battle of Bilbringi, which ultimately would spell the end of Thrawn's career.
Dude, what a good fight, too.
So, the eventually, Sabayoth is met by Luke, Han, Leia, all of them. They go out and attack. They go out after Sabayoth. They're done with dealing with him. They're done waiting on him. They're going out to him now, and they're going to fucking take him down. And all the while, they're going to look at taking out Thrawn's little cloning project on Mount Tantiss. Because Mara Jade provides them with the knowledge. He's probably, if things are correct, he's probably hiding out on Wayland.
Yup.
So...
But the Jedi Archives don't show where Wayland is.
Well,
which means it shouldn't exist.
Well, it's a good thing I'm not part of the Jedi Archives.
It's a good thing I can't read.
It's a good thing I can't read. I just know stuff. Stuff that you don't.
I know something you don't know, says Mara Jade.
And they go out to basically fight Sabayoth, but ultimately it's Luke fighting Luke.
Oh.
Who is basically this clone of Luke. And you'll never guess it. Made from the hand he lost it, Bespin.
Yeah! Oh, dude, it's so good. Comes full circle, dude.
Comes full circle. The lost hand come back to beat the meat.
Oh, I hate that you said that with your mouth. Put that thing back where you found it, or so help me.
I'm sorry, I had to make the joke. I had to.
You did, and here's the thing. It's good. I hate it. Thank you.
It's just cursed enough to be hilarious.
Oh, man.
And again, all the while this is happening, Talon Karrde's preparing his own force for attack because he's out at the Tap Calf Cafe, and he's at the Tap Calf Cantina right now, and he and his fucking group of smugglers are organizing this fucking effort against the Empire now. Though none of them are really in on the idea that Karrde is really working against the Empire. Because Niles Ferrier's a bitch!
The biggest that ever lived.
And because Niles Ferrier's lie comes around full circle on him now, all of the smugglers are able to outwit him and the force that comes to his aid. Because Karrde basically outwits them and shows them the evidence they need to undermine Ferrier. And then they blow his ship out of the fucking sky.
Like a jobber, this man dies.
What's even worse is Karrde basically let him escape. The fucking smugglers didn't.
Yup.
He's like, I'm not gonna go after him. Do what you want.
And so the guy's like, oh, I got ships waiting in tow. Hold on. Blow his ass up!
Boom!
And they're like, yeah, sure, whatever, boss.
And it's through this same smuggling force that they gather up and they ship out for Bilbringi, arriving just ahead of Thrawn's task force. Because a New Republic fleet has already made it there. The New Republic Defense Force has already been stationed around the planet. And by the way, the station where they've got defending it with 6 fucking Golan platforms.
Yup.
6 Golan 3 platforms, by the way.
Many Golans.
All arrayed around the shipyard itself, ready to defend the base at a moment's notice. Thrawn comes in out of nowhere and is ready to take on the New Republic. It's through the efforts of Talon Karrde that they are able to start really whittling away Thrawn's force. Because the New Republic is struggling against Thrawn's attack here. And Talon Karrde is the one piece that gives them the edge. Because he basically infiltrates the Golan stations and starts having them fire on the fucking Star Destroyers. He gets the fucking forces on the Golden Station to actually act when Thrawn's advanced team arrives.
God, I love him. Okay. Of my favorite characters in this book, these books, Thrawn number 1, Garm Bell Iblis number 2.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, Garm's so fucking dope.
And honestly, it's through the whole campaign that Iblis is even able to make his return into the New Republic's military. He's able to able to get his place back amongst the New Republic. And amidst the battle, when everything is starting to fall apart for them, Pellaeon makes the call to Thrawn, like, we need orders. What are we doing here? Only to see Thrawn with a new wound in his chest.
Oof.
Because his Noghri assassin Rook had finally gotten the revenge for his people he had been waiting for. And Thrawn's only response to the act was, it was done so artfully.
God, what a fucking sick final line. Oh! God damn, they couldn't have made Thrawn more cool if they tried. He's so dope. Fucking Thrawn.
Throughout the entire thing, Talon Karrde makes his return to... He goes and mates with the New Republic following this, and he goes on to serve as like basically a merchant service for the New Republic. He goes and actually works with the New Republic as
he becomes a shipping magnate, essentially.
Basically, yeah. He and his little smugglers alliance agree to help the New Republic because that was kind of what the New Republic was looking for before this whole thing happened. They needed a source of income, and they couldn't manage to get through with all the tariffs. So they had Han going out to find smugglers to work with them. And Talon Karrde was apprehensive of working with anybody directly like that, but he was willing to do like contract work. And so he eventually goes on after this whole ordeal is like, yeah, you know, I wasn't gonna take any sides, but I made a bad play before, and I think I need a little more security. So he goes and does fucking shipping contract work for the New Republic, essentially. And all the while, Sabayoth and the fucking facility on Mount Tantus are destroyed. Mara Jade effectively goes off to do her own thing. We know what happens with her later, though.
Yup.
Well, I was more getting into what we'll be discussing through Dark Empire.
Ah. That's fair.
But, well, that's what happens with Thrawn in the... Well, that's Thrawn's story at this point. His legacy is not done.
Never will be.
This is where we start to pick apart the Thrawn duology. So, by this point, we are hearing rumors that Thrawn is making a return. Supposedly, there is some new Imperial commander. The Empire has declined by this point. We're 19 ABY by this point.
Yeah.
The now Supreme Commander, Gilad Pellaeon, decided the time had come for a peace treaty with the New Republic, and so he meets with the current Supreme Chancellor, Ponk Gaversum.
I should mention this. I haven't finished those books.
So this will be a bit of a spoiler on that point, unfortunately, because we'll be...
That's fine.
Because
I started those books, and then I saw that, like
I'm not going to go into...
And Luke were, like, actually together, and I was like, oh, fuck. Oh, yeah. When did I miss this? Oh, fuck, there's more books in between. And then I...
Yeah, this happens... Like I said, we're 19 ABY. We are 10 years after Thrawn's battle against the New Republic.
Yeah.
Because Thrawn's campaign ended in 9 ABY. Thrawn's campaign went from 7 to 9 ABY, I believe is what his years were. 7 to 9 or 8 to 9 ABY. Because his was the longest campaign until the Dark Empire crisis. Until the events of the Dark Empire and Operation Shadowhand and the Crimson Empire, that is the longest term of a warlord's run.
Yep.
Thrawn holds the record right now until Paleon for the longest standing, like, main warlord. Like, this is the Empire's warlord, not one of the offshoot warlords. This is the Empire's warlord. He has the second longest run as a warlord, because technically Palpatine doesn't have a warlord role until 10 ABY. His return is not until
that he's considered himself a warlord.
Well,
and not just I'm the Emperor again.
I mean, he is the Emperor again, but by technicality, he is a warlord because the Empire is defunct by this point.
That's fair.
And for him to, in the first place, be a clone body, it just there's some
Somehow
weird semantic. There's some weird. Remember, but somehow Palpatine returned before somehow Palpatine returned.
True. He returned twice. We don't know how.
It's a whole process there, and the whole event is really. We'll get to talk about it next week is where we'll actually talk about it. Well, we'll get to touch on it some. We won't actually get to really talk about it in detail until the week after. But next, the whole bit is, at this point, Thrawn has taken Thrawn's campaign has finished 10 years ago. And now Paleon is the ruling member of the Imperial Remnant. At this point, there's a whole thing of Thrawn having some impersonator running around.
A Thrawn impersonator. Kind of hard to do, considering he's a Chiss and they're rare as fuck.
So while Paleon and the Council of Moffs are kind of reluctantly accepting this new piece, one Moff, Willem Disra, actively opposes this piece, who goes on and forms a triumvirate with a con artist called Flim.
Dude, get the really? His name is Flim?
Yes.
Like Flim Flam? Like to con somebody?
Yep.
That's dumb.
Alongside a clone of a Imperial Major Groden Tyrus. Don't know the name. Doesn't even have a hyperlink. So
hell yeah. Nobody knows about this.
He's a jobber, apparently.
Yeah.
Apparently the group all carried some knowledge of Thrawn's own tactics and would kind of try to play this whole con of impersonating Thrawn. Thrawn's apparent return undermined Paleon's position as Supreme Commander, and Imperial forces soon began to rally around the Grand Admiral. Meanwhile, the whole triumvirate began a campaign to destabilize the New Republic by exploiting the crisis caused by the recent discovery of the Kamas document in the Rebel of Mount Tantus, which, if you are unaware, the Kamas documents are part of the Kamas documents involve a whole political upset in the New Republic around the Kamas species, where their people had worked with the Empire to basically virus bomb a planet.
Oof. That's never a good sign.
They basically helped the Empire, if I recall correctly, they helped develop some bioweapon for the Empire, and they used it against it was not against the Kamas people. It was the fact that the Kamas were the victims of a implicated group of Bothans.
Ugh.
Its original state, the document detailed the Bothan agents that lowered the planetary shield of Kamos that allowed the Imperial Starfleet to devastate the surface of the planet. Groton Tiris, as a part of his plot to destroy the New Republic, altered the document to include the names of prominent Bothan clans originally uninvolved in the operation, and ensured copies were stored in secure Imperial vaults and military libraries. With a data card copy was uncovered at Mount Tantus in 1981, the New Republic fell into a massive political crisis. Agents of the Remnant, particularly Drenda Navit, helped to escalate the conflict, eventually leading to a battle at Bothawi.
Shell the Bothans. Bomb them.
During this whole thing, the effort was basically stopped by Han. A altered copy was obtained by Han and Lando, given to them by Flim, masquerading as Thrawn. After the two, along with the help of Lobot and Moegid? I don't know. That's a weird one. Moegid. I'm gonna call him Moegid. Had tried to obtain a copy of the document by searching archives in a library on Bastion. They were immediately suspicious when it named Bothans from a number of leading clans as part of the atrocity. Other attempts to gain a copy of the document were made by General Garmbel Iblis, with Rogue Squadron and Booster Tarek under his command, and by Talon Card. The only unaltered copy was acquired by R2-D2 on Nirawan.
Yeah, R2, get you some.
Which ultimately is kind of where this, I think, is going to run its course through. So, yeah, the whole events of that happen, and rumors of Thrawn's return had reached the Empire of the Hand, and prompted the Syndic Mithron Neurodo Training Academy on the planet Rhaegar and the Rada Nebula to accelerate the training of their cadets in preparation for service with the Grand Admiral. Meanwhile, the single clone of Thrawn, which was being grown at the Hand of Thrawn complex, had remained undisturbed for almost 10 years.
Yeah!
Boss Park, Sunter Fell, and many Chiss soldiers had spent the previous decade continuing Thrawn's fight against threats from the unknown regions, staying out of contact with the Imperial Remnant, while waiting for his prophesized return. Upon hearing HoloNet rumors that the Grand Admiral had returned to lead the Imperial Remnant, they decided to investigate further. However, Thrawn's goal had always been to protect the galaxy from the dangers it faced. With the Empire's strength greatly diminished, Thrawn may have decided to work with the New Republic instead. Therefore, they were unwilling to reveal their operation to the Empire in stealth, and instead chose to make contact with Mara Jade and acquire her knowledge and expertise of both sides before making a decision.
Imagine you spend all this time making a clone of Thrawn. So you're like, yes, we'll have him back and he will lead us to a new golden age. But just in case, let's talk to this lady here who will tell us if he will join the Republic or not.
Now, Mara was successfully lured to the Hand of Thrawn complex on Nirawan, with Luke Skywalker following after Card's people lost contact with her. So by this point, they're, I guess, not officially together. I think, from the looks of it, they are not officially together yet, it seems like. So I guess that happens later on. Actually, I think if I'm correct, that doesn't actually happen until almost the start of the Long War. But during this whole thing, there's a whole effort led by Sunterfell effectively to uncover what's going on here. And that's effectively where the Thrawn duology and what is the other? There's another book that I've got in my library that actually covers this whole specific story. Because the Thrawn duology starts tangling a bit of the Thrawn duology may actually happen a bit after, but I know for a fact there's a book that comes up that may actually detail this whole thing. which in of itself was supposed to be a like sequel duology thing. Survivor's Quest, that's what it was. Survivor's Quest is the other book that this pulls pulls from. Because there is some whole bit about the Empire of the Hand and whatever, but ultimately Thrawn's whole thing basically had him like leading the there's a whole bit about everything that goes on here, kind of just like it basically covers the whole Survivor's Quest story, if I'm not mistaken, at the very least. This basically covers the whole of Survivor's Quest. The Hand of Thrawn duology may actually cover a different part of this. But I know there's some whole thing about them finding the Thrawn clone, and they go about, as far as I remember, they actually go about destroying the Thrawn clone.
Aww. Give me my Thrawn back, dude.
If I'm not mistaken, at the very least. Again, I know that they don't actually have him come back again. Yeah, they do end up killing his clone later on, I believe. They do end up killing his clone during that, which...
Shame.
Yeah.
You could have used that clone, dude.
But... they end up, the details of his legacy kind of go on and detail a lot of what he left behind as a individual. And I am still kind of blanking a bit on where the Hand of Thrawn book kind of comes in here, because I want to say that details a specific like involvement with the Empire of the Hand, and I don't know where it actually comes up. But that's ultimately, to kind of summarize the whole thing, that's pretty much Thrawn's run as a that technically is just Thrawn's run as a leader anyway. Yeah. I'd like to go more in detail of it, but like to give more detail, but I'll probably hold off on doing a lot of that and save that for when we actually talk about the Empire of the Hand, because they're going to be a whole video, they're going to be a whole session in of themselves.
Hell yeah. So
that's pretty much everything we've got on Thrawn as far as his legend status as a warlord.
Yep.
He takes on this whole thing, and he is ultimately he basically was the big hope for the Empire. He was the Empire's biggest hope after Palpatine died, because he was the most effective, the most successful, and arguably the most resourceful of the warlords that existed. Because he, unlike many of the others, Thrawn is one of the few exceptions in that he did not have a special super Star Destroyer that he commanded.
Yep. Just a regular basic bitch Star Destroyer.
And as a fact, he didn't have anything bigger than a Star Destroyer in his fleets. None of his ships were any bigger than the Star Destroyers. He made use of basically a bunch of stolen freighters and New Republic warships, all alongside battle groups of the modified Dreadnought heavy cruisers from the Katana fleet. And all the while, he's using this all with the implied tactic of the Thrawn pincer, which is that gravity well maneuver that I mentioned, where he basically sets up and immobilize a interdictor craft and has them basically act as a drop point for ships to drop in on. so that they are dropped in precisely where he wants them.
Yep.
But that's pretty much Thrawn at this point. Like, we could fucking talk about more of the shit he's done, but there's gonna be plenty of that, especially when we actually get to talk about the first book in the canon Thrawn trilogy. So we'll get to talk about that then, and eventually we'll talk about the Empire of the Hand when we inevitably talk about the. We inevitably go and talk about the Vong and everything, because I think that's probably the best point to really talk about the Empire of the Hand is after we start talking about the Vong some, because the Empire of the Hand serve a pretty integral role in that fight alongside the Empire of the Hand. So it only feels right that I go into their story when we actually start talking about that. But yeah, Thrawn.
Thrawn's dope.
We don't need to go into what our thoughts are. We love Thrawn out here.
We stand Thrawn, dude.
We stand Thrawn. And I do want to remind everyone that for next week, we'll be doing our little special holiday bit of doing the coverage of Dark Empire versus the sequel trilogy, given that comparison between the two. And the last one we'll do this year will probably be talking about Dark Empire in general. So that'll be where we talk about Dark Empire for that. And yeah, we're very much going to be reading. Keeping up on the book here, so I'm keeping up on the book club stuff on the side, and we're gonna see what the two worst parts of the Legends and Canon stuff were. Let's see what the two worst parts of those were. Which one was genuinely worse?
Yep.
Because honestly, I've had a lot of confliction about them, especially after how kind of messy I learned Dark Empire really was. Dark Empire is one of those poor examples of a attempt to try to build off what somebody else did, because Dark Empire built off of what Timothy Zahn established through the Thrawn novels, if that shows any level of credit at all. But yeah, it only, I think, to the credit it shows, it's not great credit. Not great credit due. We get some like wild.
I mean, it's fun.
Dark Empire offers a lot of weird, wild stuff.
Yeah,
I think that's probably the one point we will end up giving it when we end up covering. Because, god damn it, does Dark Empire bring up a lot of fucking crazy stuff?
Yeah, the Dark Empire is dope. It's fun. But some of it's just.
There's a lot of it that's really bad, but it's really bad as a story. It brings up a lot of really cool stuff when it does.
Yes.
There's a lot of really.
It's almost like it's written poorly, but it has a lot of lore in it.
Well, it's more. It just has a lot of cool stuff. It's not even that there's a lot of lore.
Well, the cool stuff is lore.
I mean, yeah. We get a bunch of cool super weapons. That's kind of the big facet there. We get cool super weapons, and we get Force-sensitive stormtroopers.
Hell yeah. Just like John Wayne would have done.
Specifically John Wayne.
Specifically John Wayne.
Okay. But, yeah, no. Final thoughts here, because I don't think there's much else we gotta cover.
Final thoughts? I would let Thrawn make sweet, sweet love to me.
We would absolutely. We absolutely love Thrawn.
Thrawn did nothing wrong.
I mean, aside from how he treated the Nograi, he really didn't.
Yeah.
He didn't actually do anything wrong outside what happened with the Noghri. That's probably the one big crux in his. That's probably the one big crux, because he could easily overcome the whole bit with Sabaoth.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Sabaoth was easy to overcome, especially with the Asalamiri.
He could have beaten the shit out of Sabaoth, dude.
Beat your ass with my lizard cat over my back.
That's right. What are you gonna do? You can't do shit. Throw rocks at me?
Just a fucking piece of shit old man. What you gonna do?
How many times are gonna teach you this lesson, old man?
It's actually wild to me because Thrawn dealing with Sabaoth is one of the few moments you actually get a sense of genuine anger out of Thrawn.
Yup.
And there's some of that pops up in Rebels that I really fucking love. We get to actually see that express, like, the rare expression of emotion from Thrawn. Thrawn is not a character that openly expresses a lot of his feelings outside, like, blissful admiration of the way things are done.
Yup.
Thrawn is very much a stone-faced character that keeps either a very calm plastered mask over, or he's wearing a very smug grin.
Yep. He has two emotions: none and smug.
100%. And the rare off chance you get to experience the third emotion, God help you,
dude. Even when he was dying, he was smug.
This is the other thing. It's not you can't really get Thrawn mad. It's hard to get Thrawn mad. And that's the one thing that canon showed in Rebels. The few instances the man gets mad, you genuinely feel when he's mad, when he's afraid, there is a whole new level of emotion that's shown there.
Yeah, like the current part in the book where they fucking lose half the Tabana.
Oh yeah, that bit.
And he's like, that man needs to die. And you're like, fuck Thrawn, whoa, hey.
Yeah.
Where's my cool smart dude? Who's this angry man?
Yeah, yeah, the whole fucking ordeal with Night Swan was fucked, dude.
Dude, it's so cool though!
It's so good. It's so good. The Thrawn books, all of them, and admittedly even Ascendancy, because Ascendancy drags. Dude, those books are like 20 hours minimum.
Oh, man.
Those books are 20 hours minimum. They are the longest Star Wars books out there.
Oh, I'm down for it though, dude.
They're not awful. They're just not as great as the other books that Thrawn is in.
Yeah.
But they're supposed to detail like his genuine origins in canon. Like this is his upbringing in the Chiss.
And the fact that you actually get inside Thrawn's mind in these books.
It's amazing.
It's so good!
We'll get to talk about the Thrawn book in the book club at the end of the month.
Hold on. In the original 3, you never see anything from Thrawn's perspective. It's always Pelion when it's Thrawn.
Yeah, it's usually seeing it from the outside. You never get the, like, in the mind of Thrawn.
Yeah, you always get like, oh man, he's so smart because he did this, but we don't know exactly how he thought of all of this. That's insane. Other than, I looked at some art, now I know their battle plan. You're like, what do you mean? What do you mean? And now you're actually like inside Thrawn's head and he's like, yes, I see. Because the way this is colored and the lines and the fucking... I know exactly how they think. Because this would mean... And you're like, dude, holy shit, he's so smart!
Thrawn is easily one of the... easily the most brilliant fucking tactical mastermind in the galaxy.
Could you imagine someone like that living in the current day and age?
Look,
who's just like, I looked at Egyptian art and now I know how to fight them.
Look, I will stand by this fact. If Thrawn in canon, if Ezra didn't just absolutely vault Thrawn to some fuck off nowhere planet with Night Sisters, on another fucking galaxy, the entirety of canon would be an entirely different story. The rebels would never have won.
Never.
Because they only faced a challenge in their campaign when Thrawn was around.
Yeah.
Thrawn was the only hindrance they ever really faced. And I will get to talk about fucking Orenda Price later, but we'll get to talk about her ass when we talk in the book.
Okay, good. Because I'm sitting there and like I said, I'm halfway through this first book, and like at first when they're like, oh cool, it's about Thrawn and fucking Eli. This is dope. This is cool. And then they cut to some fucking nobody in a nowhere world who's in charge of like a mine. I'm like, who the fuck is this lady?
So,
and now that the book is going, I'm like, dude, I need to know what this lady becomes. I have to know. Do not tell me.
I will withhold it, but I will say that Rebels has already introduced her.
Here's the thing. I don't care for Rebels. I don't like Ezra. I think he's a shit.
See, that's how
I don't like Ezra, and I don't like what's her face, the little Mando girl,
Sabine.
Like I see them and I go, man, oh fuck, dude.
I mean, I genuinely like how Ezra kind of grows throughout that series, because he does actually improve. Yeah, he does get better.
I'm too old.
Sabine, I think,
for
is
a
the
child coming of age story. Like I see a child in something, and I go, wow, I don't care.
And it's wild I managed to give you a fairly decent opinion about Skeleton Crew.
Skeleton Crew, it seems fine. I'm probably not gonna watch it, but it seems fine. The same thing that happened with what the fuck is the name of that show? Stranger Things. I gave it one episode and went, it's about middle schoolers. I do not care.
But I think with all that, we're gonna end it off there. Make sure you poke in and make sure you poke at all the videos I've been posting on the YouTube side, because I have been busy.
Been busy, dude.
Got two playthroughs in Total War, got a streamed one running, and I've got a playthrough of Zinj going on in Thrawn's Revenge.
Dude, I saw the fucking thumbnail you had for that video, and it's just Zinj's face, and I went, oh, I hate this man. His mustachioed face, I want to hit it.
Yeah, Zinja's definitely a character at the very minimum.
He's one of the characters.
I mean, I said it when we talked about him. Zinj is one of those that he was better to actually witness what he does rather than me explaining it.
Yeah.
He's still not one of the great characters.
No.
But he's an interesting character when you actually when you go through the Wraith Squadron story and you actually get to see Zinj doing stuff. You get to actually see that character. That's a much better take of it than how he's supposed to be introduced in Courtship of Princess Leia, which again, 19 chapters, man has not existed yet.
Yep.
He has not made a single appearance in that book yet.
The way I see Zinj is he is an incredibly interesting stepping stone for the next guy.
I mean, he is, because Thrawn is the one that comes after Zinj.
Exactly.
Because
Zinj makes a great stepping stone for Thrawn to just step on his head and be like, I'm here now. Look at me.
Zinj is effectively the middle ground between Isard and Thrawn. He is the exchange of power between those two. Because when
Isard's even more interesting than Zinj.
I mean, she is, but she also is a fucking bitch. She
absolutely.
An absolute bitch. Like,
she's horrendous, but that's what makes her interesting.
Zinj was cold-blooded, but at least he tried to make an image for his people. Like, he tried to fucking build up this reputation as a grand commander, and he did a lot of fucking impressive shit.
Yeah.
Like, taking on the, like, stopping the fucking Night Sister revolt on Dathomir, hunting down his mother, a seasoned war veteran, and taking her down.
Yeah. No, Zinj is super interesting, and he's very important. He's just not as good as the other two.
And that's kind of where the other warlords will kind of fill their spot in, because that's kind of what we're going to get when we get to the others. Like, Delvardis in the first place. I don't think I could cover Delvardis in a full video, unfortunately.
No.
Delvardis does not have
a footnote.
Delvardis is... it sucks because I love Delvardis in... I love playing the Ariadu Authority. They're easily my favorite warlord faction in Thrawn's Revenge.
They've got cool shit.
They have all capital ships. That's their focus. They are big ship.
Cool shit.
They are big ship. Make big ship bigger. Make more big ships.
Their warlord is a jobber.
Their warlord is 100% a jobber.
It's so bad.
Jackass fucking married into the Tarkin family and
then ran it into the ground.
Ran it and his forces into the ground. All after dipping out from under fucking Grand Moff Artis Kane, who arguably is more interesting.
Yeah.
Kane may actually be the most interesting of them. Of the, like, non-Imperial war... Of the non, like, aligned Imperial warlords. Those that have their own standing, Kane may actually be the most interesting of them. And it's even better because the Pentastar are also a fun faction to play in Thrawn's Revenge.
Yeah, they are.
They're a faction based entirely around carriers.
Yes, the Pentastar is the one with the skip ray fucking.
They have the skip ray blast boats. Well,
yes.
The Empire in general gets that as a ship now in Thrawn's Revenge.
Really?
Yeah, it's because it's an Imperial gunship essentially.
Okay. Yeah,
I
remember playing the Authority, and I was like, yo, I just get, dude, you can't stop mass fighters, man. It's almost impossible. There's so many of them.
You know, the Pentastar are all about carriers. That's why they get the They're the only Imperial faction that can produce the Venator.
Oh,
Their big battleship, the Praetor. They have a Praetor variant that is just a battle carrier.
Yep.
It's basically just the Praetor battleship that they took the tip of the fucking ship out. They pulled that out and put like 7 different hangar bays in there.
Yep.
7 gigantic ass fucking hangar bays are all lined in that front end of that ship.
Gimme. Dude, I love in video games carrier doctrine.
Carrier doctrine is fun.
I'm
the person
zerging dudes. Just give me a bunch of little shits that you have to focus on, but there's so many of them.
See, and in my case, I am the polar opposite. I want the big ships. Give me the fucking ships that take all the fucking damage and hit just as hard. Like,
those are also
let me throw out battleships like it's fucking candy. Let me throw battleships like it's candy.
Yeah.
Like, it's so good. The
StarCraft player in me is so hyped because I fucking love swarms. I love them. Why do you think I play so many token decks in Magic? I love swarms. I love them.
And you'd probably actually like Zinj and the Greater Maldrude, because they also are basically swarm factions.
I love the Greater Maldrude.
Because the Maldrude are all frigate focus. They don't their big focus is frigates, and they get a big ass fucking fleet tender.
Yup.
And Zinj is basically corvettes. You don't want to deal with a bunch of fighters? Have a bunch of fucking corvettes.
Yep. I just like the idea of being like, I will block out the sun with how much shit I'm throwing at you.
Yeah. Well, I think we're gonna end this one off here. Hope you all enjoy. I'll probably be seeing everybody later. We'll probably be seeing everybody later because I want to get another video out today, but I've not got anything recorded up yet, and I'm thinking that I may be picking up one of my maybe continuing one of my Total War playthroughs today. Doing, thinking maybe seeing some Skull Taker. Maybe seeing some more Skull Taker tonight.
Ooh, nice.
May also be doing a stream later if I get enough people around. I'm kind of wanting to do some Helldivers.
Helldivers would be fun.
Because they got the new, because the Illuminate are in the game now, and fuck, they're insane to fight.
I'd be down. My brother's in town, so I'll be gone for a few hours. But when I come back, if you're around and
oh, dude, I'll be around. I'll be around.
Fucking playing Helldivers, dude.
I'll be around. 100% will be up and around to get down and dive in the Helldivers.
Hell yeah, dude.
So, hope you all enjoy. We'll see you all for that noise. This has been the Freelancer, signing off until next time. Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye.